During maintenance work, failure to perform proper energy lockout led to unexpected machine movement and injury risk. Always follow lockout-tagout procedures before inspection or repair. Safety starts with securing all sources of energy. A forklift operating inside a warehouse is used to lift a large box. At the time of lifting, a worker is seen standing on top of the box. As the forks reach their maximum height, the load becomes unstable, causing the box to tilt and fall. In a warehouse, two workers are handling stacks of sacks. Working together, they lift each sack and place it onto one worker's back. That worker then carries the sack to the nearby conveyor belt. As this repetitive process continues, the stack gradually becomes unstable and eventually collapses, sending sacks tumbling down from the top. This video documents a workplace incident in a high-density storage facility, where a female associate on a rolling ladder, roughly 10 feet high, is managing inventory. Simultaneously, a co-worker moving a large pallet with a manual jack fails to maintain safe clearance, striking the ladder's base. This impact causes the equipment to tip, sending the worker to the floor. To prevent such incidents, facilities must implement strict standards. Rolling ladders should feature self-closing safety gates and lockable casters. When work is performed at heights, lookup protocols and exclusion zones using safety cones are essential to prevent contact. The footage shows a truck reversing in a narrow street and hitting an electric pole. The driver fails to see the pole in the mirrors, and the truck's rear corner strikes it, breaking the concrete pole in two within seconds. The pole collapses onto a parked car beside it. The incident causes significant property damage in mere moments, though luckily no one is injured. This incident highlights the dangers of blind spots and the absence of a spotter during reversing operations. Heavy vehicles have wide blind zones. Therefore, a spotter must always assist during reversing, and cameras and sensors should be active. The area must be checked before maneuvering, and at least 1 meter of clearance should be kept from fixed obstacles. This video documents a critical safety incident at an industrial manufacturing facility. While working near active machinery, a worker's upper body and arm became caught in a rotating shaft. Due to the high torque and sudden nature of the equipment, the individual sustained severe physical injuries. The incident occurred so rapidly that bystanders were unable to intervene in time. This serves as a powerful reminder for anyone working in mechanical or manufacturing environments. Key safety takeaways. Maintain vigilance by never underestimating the danger of active machinery. Constant situational awareness is vital. Strict compliance is essential. Always follow safety protocols and wear appropriate PPE. In this case, the worker intentionally stood on the conveyor belt, treating it like a joke. But conveyors are not play areas. Sudden startup or mechanical movement can cause serious injury. Fooling around with industrial equipment puts anyone at risk. Always treat work zones with focus and respect. In this video, a front loader enters a facility, likely for cleaning or repairs. A woman is helping the driver park the vehicle safely, guiding it into position to avoid hitting anything. But for some reason, the driver does not stop in time. Always use hand signals or radios for clear driver-spotter communication. In this situation, the spotter should have stood to the side of the heavy machinery. This video highlights a critical safety incident involving an HVAC technician attempting to install an AC unit at a dangerous height by placing a long ladder on an unsecured scaffolding platform without any personal protective equipment. The technician faced extreme risk as he neared the top carrying heavy equipment. The unstable base shifted, leading to a sudden collapse. This preventable accident serves as a vital reminder to never underestimate risks or skip safety protocols. Always use proper gear like harnesses and hard hats. Ensure all equipment is placed on level, solid ground, and work in pairs when handling heavy loads. Safety must always come before speed or convenience, as your well-being is more valuable than any quick fix. This video documents a sudden road incident involving individuals traveling on motorcycles. During the journey, a rider unexpectedly loses balance and falls onto the pavement, highlighting how quickly instability or improper vehicle use can lead to a dangerous situation. This moment serves as a serious reminder for all commuters to prioritize road safety by wearing protective gear, adhering to passenger capacity limits, and maintaining constant focus. Proper vehicle handling and situational awareness are essential to preventing such accidents. This footage acts as a cautionary example, urging everyone to follow traffic regulations and exercise extreme caution to ensure the safety of themselves and others while sharing the road. The video captures a critical warehouse incident where a worker narrowly escapes injury after a massive stack of heavy bags collapses. This event stems from an unstable arrangement that triggers a dangerous domino effect, sending heavy loads crashing down toward the individual. It serves as a stark warning about the necessity of proper stacking techniques and maintaining a safe distance from high-risk zones to prevent such accidents. Loads must be secured on level surfaces and kept within safe height limits to ensure stability. Ultimately, workplace safety requires constant situational awareness and identifying potential fall zones at all times. This footage highlights that following strict safety protocols and conducting regular training are essential steps to keep every employee safe on the job. This video documents a serious workplace safety incident involving a technician whose arm becomes entangled in a high-speed rotating lathe. This dangerous situation occurs during a brief lapse in concentration while the worker handles materials near active machinery. The footage highlights the immense risks of industrial equipment, showing how a routine task can quickly escalate into a life-threatening emergency. It serves as a vital warning for all personnel to maintain absolute focus, avoid loose clothing, and always ensure proper machine guarding is in place. Constant vigilance are essential to preventing industrial accidents and ensuring everyone returns home safely. This footage captures a serious industrial accident involving a high-speed warping machine in a textile facility. While making adjustments near the rotating axis, a worker's clothing or limb became entangled, quickly pulling them into the machinery. Due to immense mechanical force, colleagues acted fast to cut the power and provide aid, highlighting the extreme hazards of industrial equipment. This event underscores the need for strict adherence to OSHA standards. Key prevention steps include wearing form-fitting PPE to avoid entanglement, maintaining safe clearance zones with physical barriers, and ensuring comprehensive training to recognize pinch points. Additionally, accessible emergency stop buttons are vital. Ultimately, workplace safety is a fundamental commitment to protecting every team member's well-being. The footage documents a severe industrial incident involving two workers operating at a high elevation during harsh weather conditions. One worker was climbing a temporary iron ladder attached to the building's exterior, while a colleague followed to provide assistance. Because the ladder was not properly secured and could not support the combined weight of both individuals, the anchor points failed completely. In an instant, the entire structure and both workers fell to the snowy ground below. This situation serves as a powerful warning against overlooking safety protocols for temporary equipment. And the critical lesson is that all elevated support systems must undergo technical inspection and be reinforced according to industry standards before use. Security footage from a warehouse recently captured a distressing incident that serves as a stark reminder of why safety protocols exist. While an employee was resting on a stack of crates, Colleagues attempted a prank by lifting them with a forklift. The situation turned critical as the load became unstable, causing the crates and the individual to crash to the floor before a metal attachment also fell. This highlights the need for strict adherence to equipment protocols. Forklifts are for freight, not jokes. There must be zero tolerance for horseplay in high-risk zones, where poor judgment leads to severe consequences. Personal accountability is essential. Every team member must remain vigilant to protect the well-being of everyone in the production area. This footage captures a severe workplace safety incident involving the improper operation of a forklift. The situation escalated when the vehicle attempted to transport a load that was significantly oversized and exceeded its weight capacity. Due to the extreme forward weight, the rear wheels began to lift off the ground. In an attempt to stabilize the machine, a worker climbed onto the back to act as a manual counterweight. The situation turned critical when the load shifted and collapsed, causing the forklift to violently snap backward. The worker was unable to jump clear and was struck as the machinery slammed down. This serves as a vital reminder to follow OSH protocols. At this construction site, we can see some major safety issues. None of the workers are wearing safety harnesses, guardrails, or any protective gear. Even more concerning, they are wearing slippers which offer no grip or protection. The worker in white steps onto a wooden plank. His first step is fine, but as he takes a second step, the plank falls from under him, causing him to fall. In this video, we can see a woman climbing a ladder to adjust something. Everything seems fine, but there's a problem. The ladder lacks a stabilizing bar in the middle. It also doesn't have the anti-slip protection, making it even more unstable. As she reaches the top, the inevitable happens. The ladder collapses outward and she falls. Fortunately, she was fine and had no injuries.
In this video, a cyclist is seen riding down a paved path next to a wooden fence. It appears they don't notice the metal traffic barriers positioned across the walkway until it's too late. Without slowing down, the rider crashes directly into the bars. This video highlights the extreme danger of working under a vehicle without proper safety equipment. You should always use wheel chocks and the parking brake to prevent a vehicle from rolling. Fortunately, in this case, the man noticed the movement and reacted quickly enough to move his body and avoid being crushed. Elevator malfunctions are very dangerous. Both repair teams and hospital staff must take precautions. Workers must use warning signs and staff must be told which elevators are broken. Unfortunately, poor communication caused this elevator to go down unexpectedly. Overloading scaffolding planks are dangerous. Platforms must be built with multiple secured planks to handle the weight, and workers should never crowd a single board. Here, the plank bent and slipped off its supports, causing both workers to fall. The footage shows a worker on a production line leaning forward to adjust the alignment of a moving fabric. But because the machine wasn't stopped, the intervention turns into a disaster within seconds. The rotating rollers catch the worker's arm and pull his body inward with tremendous force. A simple adjustment becomes a deadly accident in an instant. This incident demonstrates the severity of the danger known as the nip point. When working with winding machines involving fabric, film, or paper, no manual contact should ever be made. Rotating systems must be guarded, and lockout, tagout must always be applied before any maintenance. The footage shows two workers standing in front of a massive container handler, reach stacker at a port terminal. Unaware of their presence, the operator begins reversing the machine. One worker notices the danger at the last second and runs to safety, but the other reacts just a moment too late and narrowly avoids being crushed. These moments vividly reveal how deadly the blind spots of heavy machinery can be. This incident shows how dangerous limited visibility can be for heavy equipment operators. Pedestrian access should be restricted in loading zones, operators should always work with spotters, and vehicles must be equipped with cameras and audible alarms. Workers must maintain a safe distance. Lockout-tagout is a life-saving procedure for electrical work. By locking switches and fuses, workers ensure power stays off while they work. The footage shows an operator lifting a garbage container into a truck using the hydraulic arm. Suddenly, one of the hydraulic lines ruptures, and within seconds, the front of the truck bursts into flames. As the fire spreads rapidly, the operator panics and flees. Such accidents occur when high-pressure hydraulic fluid comes into contact with hot surfaces, igniting instantly. Safety in hydraulic systems depends on regular maintenance and leak prevention. Hoses, fittings, and valves must be inspected frequently, and any worn components should be replaced immediately. Even a small oil leak can cause a major fire in seconds. Regular maintenance saves lives. At a loading area, two workers were organizing materials at the back of a truck. One was tossing packages to the ground one by one, while the other was stacking boxes. However, they didn't notice a passerby walking nearby, and one of the thrown packages hit him directly. The impact wasn't severe, but the situation could easily have resulted in a serious injury. This incident shows how crucial awareness and communication are in shared workspaces. During loading or unloading, everyone must be aware of their surroundings, and no lack of coordination should be allowed. Every movement in shared areas should be deliberate, and a load should never be thrown. The footage shows a worker trying to lift a ramp attached to an excavator bucket. As the operator raises the bucket, the worker attempts to guide the ramp with his hands. Suddenly, the bucket rises sharply, and the heavy metal ramp falls directly onto the worker. Within moments, an ordinary task turns into a fatal accident. This incident illustrates one of the most dangerous mistakes made on construction sites: standing under a suspended load. Chains or slings can snap at any moment, so no one should ever be beneath them. Communication with the operator must be maintained, and loads should only be moved in a controlled and secure area using proper lifting equipment. The rule is simple: never stand under a suspended load. The footage shows a 33-year-old woman preparing for a bungee jump at an adventure park. Everything appears normal until the moment she jumps, when suddenly the rope snaps. The woman plunges uncontrollably, coming face to face with death in seconds. This incident serves as a stark reminder that the safety of extreme sports depends not just on rules, but on every single piece of equipment. This incident underscores how critical equipment inspection is in high-risk activities like bungee jumping. Ropes and connection points must be checked before every jump, and facilities must comply with certified safety standards. The footage shows a worker at a sludge treatment pool checking the mixing shaft with his foot after stopping the motor. However, before fully removing his foot, he restarts the system. The machine suddenly begins to rotate, entangling his foot in the mechanism and pulling his body inward within seconds. This tragic moment demonstrates how deadly it can be to work on equipment that hasn't been fully de-energized. This accident is a classic example of what happens when the lockout-tagout LOTO procedure is not applied. Turning off the motor is not enough. The power source must be locked and tagged. The operator's contact with rotating parts and the lack of protective footwear also increase the risk. Remember, don't just stop the machine. Isolate the energy, lock it out, and make sure it's safe before you act. The footage shows a worker on an automated production line entering the system by crossing the safety barrier to fix a jammed material. However, since the line wasn't stopped, the industrial robot arm suddenly moves and comes dangerously close to the worker within seconds. What began as a routine task turns into a situation that could have ended in death. This incident demonstrates how dangerous it can be to intervene without isolating machine energy in automated systems. No cleaning, maintenance, or repair should ever be performed without applying the lockout-tagout LOTO procedure. Disconnect the power, lock the system, and make sure only you can restart it, because machines don't make mistakes. Power tools like saws, grinders, and cutters can experience sudden kickback or send debris and broken parts flying at high speed. Without proper face protection and a firm grip, this kickback or flying fragments can cause severe injury. A worker pushes a heavy rolling steel door open, and it seems to work fine. But just 1 second later, a malfunction causes the door to lose its tension, and it crashes down at high speed. The footage shows a forklift operator trying to lower a heavy load from a rack. However, the weight exceeds the forklift's lifting capacity. As the load begins to slip from the forks, the front of the vehicle tilts forward rapidly and balance is completely lost. Despite the operator's effort, the forklift's center of gravity shifts, bringing the machine to the point of tipping over. As the man cuts into a concrete wall, the blade strikes a hidden obstruction, causing the tool to violently recoil back. Fortunately, he was not hurt in any way.
The footage shows workers inside a battery manufacturing area. Dense smoke suddenly begins rising from one of the stacked lithium batteries. The employees notice the situation and try to move the batteries away to control the risk before it escalates. However, within a very short time, the batteries start reacting one after another, producing flashes and pressurized flames. The area quickly fills with smoke, and the situation becomes extremely difficult to control. This incident shows how quickly and dangerously lithium batteries can react when damaged or overheated. If smoke appears, no intervention should be attempted. The area must be evacuated and emergency procedures must be followed. The rule is clear: if there is smoke, do not approach. Keep your distance and retreat to a safe zone. In Xi'an, Shanxi province, a worker was performing maintenance on a robotic machine in an industrial facility. While the equipment remained active, the worker approached the robotic arm to inspect or adjust components. Unexpectedly, the robotic arm moved and made contact with the worker against part of the machinery. Robotic systems can move unexpectedly, even during perceived idle moments. Clear signage, mandatory pre-maintenance shutdown checks, and team verification of energy isolation. In a facility in China, a worker was positioned near a conveyor belt system that was actively operating. While attempting to retrieve gloves that had fallen into the moving mechanism, the worker leaned toward the belt rather than stopping the system. At that moment, the conveyor continued moving and the worker became caught by the equipment. Nearby personnel responded quickly by stopping the conveyor and securing the area. This incident highlights the importance of fully stopping and isolating conveyor systems. The footage shows dangerous moments as a tipped dump truck is being lifted upright with the help of a crane. While the truck is suspended in the air, several workers on the ground try to manually guide it. However, while the vehicle is still fully supported by the crane, one of the cables suddenly snaps. The truck weighing several tons falls uncontrollably, and within seconds, the situation turns into a serious hazard. This incident clearly shows how entering the area beneath a suspended load during lifting operations is life-threatening. A chain or hook can fail at any moment. Therefore, the area must be secured. The load should be stabilized from 2 points, and no one should ever stand under it. The rule is clear. Clear the area, keep your distance, and never go under a crane load. Inside a cotton processing factory, a worker was assigned to operate a cotton baler as part of routine production activities. The machine was actively compacting material when a minor operational issue was noticed within the baler chamber. Instead of stopping and isolating the equipment, the worker stepped into the operating area to address the issue while the machine remained energized. At that moment, the baler cycle resumed, and the worker came into contact with the moving components of the machine. This incident illustrates the critical importance of fully shutting down and isolating baler equipment before any inspection, adjustment, or troubleshooting is attempted. Cotton balers can restart automatically or continue cycles without warning, creating serious hazards inside the operating chamber. In another incident, a worker instinctively reached into an operating rolling mill to clear a jam. Because the system was not stopped, the rotating rollers pulled the worker inward within seconds, creating an extremely dangerous situation. Such accidents show how hazardous it is to intervene in moving machinery while it is running. Before any adjustment or cleaning, the machine must be completely shut down, all energy isolated, and lockout-tagout (LOTO) applied. Nip point areas must be guarded, emergency stop controls must be easily accessible, and operators should receive regular training. In another incident, the heavy motorized top drive system that rotates the drill string unexpectedly engaged while inspections were being carried out. At the same time, the pipe string was rotating and moving downward near ground level. While the assistant driller was at the control panel, 3 other workers were positioned around the rotary table. Suddenly, the elevator link tail began to spin uncontrollably, striking nearby personnel and pinning them toward the A-frame. This incident shows how dangerous high-torque rotating equipment can be on drilling sites. Such systems must never be approached without isolating all energy and applying lockout-tagout (LOTO). Before any inspection, all energy sources must be isolated, the system shutdown status verified, and unnecessary personnel kept clear of rotating equipment. What seemed like a routine lifting operation inside a factory showed how a small mistake when working with heavy loads can create serious risks. A worker was attaching ropes to a metal frame that was about to be lifted by a crane. However, before the load was fully secured, the crane began to move. The frame suddenly shifted and lost its balance. The worker instinctively tried to hold and steady the load with his hands, but the heavy metal slid uncontrollably, creating a dangerous crushing situation. This incident shows why suspended loads should never be handled by hand. Loads must be properly secured, their balance checked, and guided only with suitable equipment. Before lifting, the area around the crane must be kept clear. The rule is simple. Safety with suspended loads comes from distance, planning, and proper procedures. Workers standing beneath a suspended steel beam were exposed to a serious danger when one of the wire slings supporting the crane load snapped. As the cable failed, the load swung uncontrollably in midair and came down onto the truck bed, missing the workers by only a few centimeters. This incident highlights how dangerous it is to stand under suspended loads or within the drop zone during lifting operations. Personnel must be kept clear of the swing path, and the area should be isolated with barriers. Equipment must be inspected regularly, and roles and safe distances should be clearly defined before every lift. At a construction site in Jiangsu Province, China, workers were conducting overhead lifting operations involving steel pipes suspended by a crane. During the hoisting process, the support frame that guided the load tilted, causing the steel pipe to fall unexpectedly. A worker positioned below attempted to move out of the path of the falling material but was struck. This event occurred amidst routine material handling on an active construction project. Lifting equipment and support structures must be verified for alignment load capacity, and secure anchoring prior to use. The footage shows a worker using a magnetic crane to lift a large steel block from a rail cart and place it onto a forklift. At first glance, the operation appears to be under control, but the length of the lifted block extends far beyond the forklift forks, and its weight exceeds the machine's safe carrying capacity. As the load remains suspended, swinging increases, balance is lost, and control becomes increasingly difficult for both the crane and the forklift. Within seconds, the operation turns into a high-risk situation. This incident shows how serious the risk can be when loads are not properly assessed during lifting and transport operations. Lifts performed without considering weight dimensions and the center of gravity can quickly lead to loss of control. At an industrial production site, a worker was overseeing an active machine during routine operations. While the equipment remained in motion, the worker placed a hand into the operating area to address a perceived issue without first stopping the machine. As a result, the hand made contact with a moving component while the system was still energized. This incident underscores the critical need to never place hands or tools near moving machine components while equipment is operating. The footage shows a large glass panel being lifted by two crane operators working together. While the panel, weighing around 700 pounds, is suspended in the air, it loses balance and begins to rotate uncontrollably. The swinging glass moves toward the edge of the building and passes only a few centimeters from the crew working below before crashing to the ground. Everything happens within seconds, and a very serious accident is narrowly avoided. This incident demonstrates how critical control is when lifting heavy and fragile loads, such as glass. At an industrial recycling facility, a worker was operating a grapple-equipped scrap excavator used to feed material into a scrap baler. During the operation, the worker exited the excavator cab and entered the working area near the baler without fully stopping or isolating the equipment. While the machinery remained active, an incident occurred involving the operating zone of the scrap baler. This incident highlights the critical importance of never entering the operating area of a scrap baler or material processing machine while equipment is energized. Operators must fully shut down and isolate all machinery before exiting the cab or approaching processing zones. Clear lockout procedures, physical barriers around balers, and strict rules requiring operators to remain in the cab during active cycles are essential controls to prevent similar incidents in recycling and scrap handling environments. In addition, regular safety audits and supervision can help ensure that all personnel consistently follow these procedures. Visual warnings, signage, and safety training refreshes should reinforce the dangers of entering active machinery zones. Implementing a buddy system or requiring confirmation from another trained worker before approaching the machine can further reduce risk.